So Agnès Maitre is from AFD France. She's project manager at the French Development Agency, with a particular focus on the use of digital technology for agriculture and on the impact of digital technology on global warming.
I'm very pleased to give you a quick overview of how we in the French Development Agency view the innovation funding. First, what is the difference between innovation and a traditional project? Most often, a traditional project unfolds in a linear fashion, when an innovative project will use loops of hypotheses, experimentation, and possibly pivots. Innovation is so characterized by these activities: to anticipate, that is to have an idea, to set up hypotheses, and to imagine a process to test them; to experiment, that is to confront the hypothesis with reality; to diverge, that is to draw the consequences from the result of the experiment and possibly go back to step one; to connect, that is to link with the rest of the ecosystem and to adapt; and to share the result and disseminate the innovation. An innovation project is generally described through these 5 steps of the digital startups, from the first idea to the mature product. So exploration is about learning about the subject, brainstorming ideas. Ideation is building a project. Prototype is going to the field and face the reality. Incubate is building a solid product, and scale up is reaching maturity. Each of these steps has very different needs in terms of support structures and funding. And I do insist on the support structures because from a point of view, they are essential and even more important than the funding. The amounts involved in innovation projects are generally much lower than in traditional large-scale projects. And in a development bank such as AFD, our organization and usual processes do not allow us to deal directly with them. But we provide funding for innovation through several alternative channels. So I will present here the 2 most relevant channels in the context of OFI. The first channel consists in using an intermediate structure which will act as a relay between the project leader and us. It is a way we finance African startups by financing investment funds that we use as relay to reach the startups. In the case of on-farm experimentation, these structures could be, of course, VC funds, but they could be also farmer organizations, national ones or regional ones, such as ROPA. They could be associations, such as Agricole, AFD, or CTA before. They can also be public structures set up by a Ministry of Agriculture or a public fund set up to support innovation. The identification and the creation of these structures is probably the key point for the financing of the on-farm experimentation. It means to develop an ecosystem for the development of these innovations. And inside this ecosystem, you will have to find one stakeholder, at least, or several of them. And this stakeholder will be in charge of collecting and distributing the funds with a good knowledge of the projects and the context. The second channel consists in calls for projects on our priority subjects. These are obviously limited solutions because there are a limited number of calls for projects, but they allow us to stay in touch with innovative ecosystems. In this way, when we found a traditional large-scale project, we can sometimes incorporate innovative projects into it if they are ready to scale up. Probably the most relevant call for project for on-farm experimentation with the AFD is the Innovation Fund for Development, the FEED. It allows innovators from all types of organizations, research institutions, NGOs, government, companies, to test new ideas, to experiment, and to scale up the most effective solution. FEED offers various grants for emerging and growing innovations. Stage 0 is a gateway into the system at the very beginning. Stage 1 is a pilot stage of innovation that are early in development and need real-world testing. Stage 2 is further testing of the innovation before scaling up. Stage 3 is a transition to widespread scaling. And the last step is concern the transformation of public policy, and it's probably not relevant for OFE. And then we have other calls for projects. I've listed a variety of them, probably the most interesting for OFE. The NGO initiatives, this one finance project from NGO, but mostly French ones. The innovation facility for NGOs, the FISONG, is a call for ideas based on different topics every year to support the development of innovative practices. So that could be interesting for OFE. The crisis and post-crisis calls for project. This tool is dedicated to support the population during and after the crisis. So if you want to implement an OFE project in area which has where there has been a crisis, it could be used. We also have the private sector innovation facility for climate change. It could be used for OFE if the transformation of the agricultural model is concerned adaptation to climate change. And then the call for social and inclusive business initiatives, the SIB, promotes social and inclusive entrepreneurship. And this fund is dedicated to private sector and NGOs. And then the French local authorities financing facilities, the FICOL. The FICOL promotes the cooperation between local authorities, between France and developing countries. And we have several projects concerning agricultural projects. All the information concerning these calls for project are on our website. The links for them are on the last page of this presentation. Please go there for further information, and I hope you will find at least one that is suited to your project. Overall, the objective of IFD in financing the innovation are to position ourselves as a shared innovation platform, because we see innovation as a leverage to reach development goals. And we will be very happy to finance projects, whether on a small scale through calls for project or on a larger scale through a financing structure. Thank you for your attention. And here you will have all the links for the call for projects.